Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. And as we call this to order, in recent years, an alarming trend has emerged. And as we see the executive branch collecting various monies for fees, fines, penalties, and settlements, the use of this money without providing Congress a clear accounting of how much money is being collected and what it's being spent on. As we see, for example, according to the President's fiscal year 2017 budget proposal, $231.8 billion in user fee charges go directly to an agency which subsequently spends the fund without congressional action, and an additional $302.2 billion in user fees will be spent according to the legislation that established the charge. These are enormous sums of money that have the possibility of being spent without any true congressional oversight. This week, Chairman Chaffetz released a report which looked at the issue of government-collected fines and penalties. Similar to the user fees, fines and penalties are not an insignificant sum of money. The 34 agencies surveyed reported that over $83 billion being collected between 2010 and 2015. More startling than the sum of money collected was the complete lack of transparency, a failure of uniform accounting systems, and a slow agency response time. Some heavy hitters, such as the Department of Treasury, were unable to provide the committee with a complete response regarding its various bureaus and offices, which is completely unacceptable. I still have no idea how much the Internal Revenue Service collected with its fines and penalty authority, which we all know would be significant. Something that is deeply troubling is that given the massive discretion that the IRS has to level the penalties against American taxpayers, this sum could be enormous. Without a complete picture of the funds flowing into the government, Congress is limited in their ability to appropriate funds accurately and prevent waste, fraud, and abuse and mismanagement. The power of the purse is one of the most important responsibilities bestowed upon Congress in the Constitution, and we must ensure that this power is not obstructed by federal agencies. Now, while I recognize that Congress has allowed certain agencies to utilize collected funds to operate rather than go through the appropriations process under President Obama, this has taken on a more meaningful role as the executive branch has utilized these collected funds or settlements to the funds administrative as priorities. So in my opinion, this executive branch discretion has gone too far. We have lost the transparency needed to understand what is being collected and allocated. And in light of these concerns, today's hearing is meant to examine the use of the fees, the fines, the penalties, and settlements by federal agencies to engage in activities that have not been specifically appropriated or authorized by Congress. We want to hear from our panel of witnesses about the appropriate legislative solutions to this concern, and specifically hear feedback on the legislative options such as H.R. 5499, the Agency Accountability Act of 2016, which was proposed by my colleague, the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Palmer. This is an important topic that we need to know what the federal government is truly spending and what they are collecting in order to reduce the deficit and get the Americans' fiscal house in order. I want to thank our panel of witnesses for being here today, and I will recognize the gentleman from Virginia, my good friend, the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Government Operations, Mr. Conley, for his opening statement.
I thank my good friend from